oh my god, my son, he's an idiot. Because of him, I've been in constant danger playing all these fucking Roblox games. So, if you're ever given the option, would you ever join a death game? What's the lowest amount of money that you would join a death game? Cause for me, like, no. For me, it would need to be enough money that my future pet turtle wouldn't even need to question retiring. Cause for me, that answer is mostly not. Or at least, it would be interesting for the first few rounds. Have you guys noticed that recently we've been watching a lot of death games recently as a collective? And honestly, I really like these death games, but it makes me think, realistically, would anyone really like accept to even be a part of these like death games? Because for games like Squid Game, during the pandemic, there was like when Squid Game came out, and recently there's the season 2 that came out with it, and man, I really missed the vibes that were brought by a Squid Game, because this raw grittiness that show had, I miss those vibes that Squid Game had. Because for me, it's just how far people go to get some money. Because for a lot of these death games, like for example Squid Game, you're filled in a room with people. None of these people are like good. None of these people are fucking like innocent. None of these people are fucking angels. Of course, there's some of them that were like con out of like a bunch of money, made poor life decisions, but I'd say a grand majority of them, they were doing some pretty shady stuff to get their money. And now you take all of those people in like a desperate situation and you give them an option to like turn their life around. And man, you just see like the willingness that some people will go to get money. It's interesting. For me, it's just also just like these terrible like life decisions that people do that like affect other people around them. Like, for example, that freaking gambler that's joined the Squid Game to like pay off his debts from loan sharks and like banks. And this guy was in so much debt that he dragged his mom along to pay off his debt. Because she was thinking the same thing. She was like, oh my god, my son, he's an idiot. Because of him, I've been in constant danger playing all these fucking Roblox games. For me in death games, what I really like is just seeing. I like cruelty. Okay, I don't like cruelty as we say. I'm not. Okay, I still have humanity inside me. Because also a few years ago, there was the show Alice in Borderland, and that was also another like death game kind of show. How to make a really great death game for me? It's all about like group interactions, because it turns the game into like some sort of like sport. Like for example, in school, you would get annoyed a bit when you would get paired up in groups to play sports like badminton. Because if your teammate was but booty cheeks, he could fuck up your game and get you guys to lose. But also, that's part of what makes badminton. Because you have to cooperate with the teammate to get to the opposite side. What I really love is doing a mix between these like cooperative games and making these like solo games. Because you'll have these rounds where everyone is thinking, oh, this is gonna be a cakewalk. Let's just fucking work together. Fuck's sake, obviously, but like, what makes people think that we're always gonna be a team in these like death games? Literally, never in the history of these death games, it's always like one single survivor at the end of these like death games. Even for like Alice in Borderlands, that shit was cruel. It was so unfair in some moments. I like it when some death games do like involve luck, but sometimes in these death games where it's like mostly luck, I kind of hate it a bit. I was like, okay, now it's not really a game anymore. Now it's just a gamble. It's not even like a game anymore. It's whatever the fuck I say. Those I appreciate a bit less. I still prefer when there's like a competitiveness to the games. Because I will always prefer if there's like a fairness to the game. I don't really like when it's like arbitrary. For example, the glass panel games in Squid Game. I'm not a big fan of that one, because like aside from like just pushing people onto the glass panel to test the glass panel, there's like zero way to know which glass panels are rigged and which one are the real ones. And that I don't really appreciate. And in Alice in Borderland, there's like a mix between the skilled games and some that are more luck-based. I hate the ones that are so fucking luck-based. There's one where there's like a dude. It's really cool, like concept of like a guy that's like he's like a Call of Duty player basically, and you have to like defeat him as a group. But like the guy has like so many weapons, and you're like so like under equipped to like deal with him, so you could like just spawn and like immediately like shred a bunch of people, which is like that's so unfair. That's so unfair for the people that just spawn there with him. But for me, the idea of these death games, it's all about like putting yourself into these death games and seeing if you are able to survive these death games alone. Because I feel, for me, what I hate, some of the death games that I hate the most are the ones where there's like a lot of like thinking. Because I'm not stupid, but also I don't like where there's like a bunch of math or like calculations come. Like, my guy, I came to this death game to fucking punch people because I'm like, well, fuck, I'm so sorry for not bringing a freaking calculator with me on this freaking remote island. I thought we were gonna punch people in the face. For example, that in Alice in Borderland, that freaking game where there's like, it's like a bunch of like lawyers and doctors in a room. They have to like find a number and like do a bunch of like calculations. If they lose, the death is so fucking gruesome. I would have immediately like shot myself, or like I would have immediately find a way to just kill myself if I was in there. I would be like, no, I don't want to be in this. They're fun, they're entertaining to watch, honestly. I like watching these death games. I prefer watching death games that are like series, because movies are also great. Movies are so great. I think series are better because you can get attached to these characters like way easier since there's like a longer runtime. There's also some pretty good movies about them. There's not a lot of like death games. The only big ones are like Danganronpa, and I only really like the first two games. I prefer the first one. I'm actually one of the few people that prefer the first one over the second one. I wonder though, after Squid Game, which show or movie is gonna be like the next big thing for death games? Because like you always hear about like Kaiji being one of the oldest gems on death games, and I haven't read Kaiji yet. I'm planning to read it because it seems interesting. I believe the creator of Squid Game was actually influenced by Kaiji, so it makes me think what is going to be the next big thing after Squid Game. This is a genre. It can get repetitive really fast, but I also think that it has one of the coolest like innovations. I think horror as like a genre, in 10 movies you'll get like the shittest movies ever, but out of those 10, there's gonna be one that's gonna be like generation like defining. That's gonna be so fucking fun. It's gonna have like the most creative like ideas. That's what I really like about like the horror genre as a whole. Tell me in the comments some of your favorite death games. If I mean like shows, movies, or games. See ya.